There we go, ladies and gentlemen. We are back and we are live on Aftermath FM. Yes, indeed. Thank you for joining me, Kev Baker, for episode number 3 of KBS Extra right here on Aftermath.fm. Yes, it's all happening over here. I've got Jimmy Jeans in the production room. He's the co host slash guest today, and we are going to have a nice weekend chill stream. Yes, we're going to put the world to rights over the next hour of radio right here for all of you on Aftermath FM. And remember to check out all of the other shows that we have got over here as well. You've got everything from David Knight all the way to Clyde Lewis, Jimmy Jeans, Billy Ray Valentine, and too many to mention. Go and check out Aftermath FM. So, with that said, let me go to the man himself, the man, the myth, and a mystery. It's Jimmy Jeans. How you doing, bro?
I'm hanging by a thread in FEMA Region 9, but I'm doing fine, Kev. Good to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
Good stuff. So, have we got everything sorted this week? Did you hear your intro, Jimmy? Did you hear that, or did you not hear that?
No, I didn't hear it, but that's good. I don't like listening to myself.
Dang, I hope it went out over there. Strange, we've got problems with the settings on Skype today, but yes, plenty for us to get into, Jimmy.
Oh, yeah, man.
One thing I was going to actually get your take on, because I know you've worked in and around on the periphery, on the event horizon of the Hollywood scene. Sound pretty cool, that, Jimbo.
Yeah.
And obviously, big news this week, and it's Alec Baldwin. Dude, what is happening, man? People getting shot on set. It's making me think all the way back to The Crow. All that kind of stuff. Is there any synchronicities? What's happening?
Well, I mean, yeah, actually, there's really a lot of synchronicities there. One of the things is that Alec Baldwin's assistant director, his AD on this movie that he was making called Rust, was on that movie, The Crow. He was actually on that movie, so it's an interesting correlation. We kind of brought a parallel to The Crow last night. I think there's 12 movies where people have gotten killed, and it was funny because the article had the 12 and Rust was in there, and so apparently, so here's what was going on. This movie was having problems with with some of the union people. And so a big part of the crew pretty much walked off early on in the day. And so at some point later on in that day is the day that somehow a bullet ended up in a gun that only shoots blanks. So it's not an easy thing in the movie business, especially in light of what happened to Brandon Lee. So that these props and these and the prop masters and everything, they take a lot of care around these weapons. And so because the pros that might have been there helping out weren't there, the person that got shot and killed happened to be the representative for the union. That for the grips and the lighting people, there's a union. It's not the Actors Guild, but it's a union for all the people that work in the periphery. And she happened to be a representative for that. Now I've heard rumors, and I don't know if this is true. I haven't gone down the trail yet to find it, but there's some rumors that the girl or the woman who was killed, husband, is a lawyer, works for a firm that's done work for the Clinton family, and also there seems to be some connections to. I hate to bring it up, but it just seems to be connections to this Epstein character as well, as far as legal work goes. So who knows? I don't know. I know one of the crazy. I know you like to let me inform you about some of the crazy conspiracy threads that you see rolling around on the boards. And one of the ones I saw yesterday was that Alec Baldwin was a CIA agent, and this woman was a Ukrainian spy. But in light of that, the odds of an actual bullet being put into one of these guns, a real bullet, it's not very likely that that's going to happen. Why there wouldn't, shouldn't, and couldn't be any real bullets even floating around on the set. I mean, if I was to go out on, if I was going to paddle out onto Speculation Island, I mean, it sounds maybe there wasn't even a prop. Maybe somebody just said, "Hey, go in my glove compartment. There's something over there. Just get that, and put the blanks in that one, or whatever." Who knows? I don't know. All I know is people.
I reckon that disgruntled employees looking like a good bet, a sure bet. That the other stuff that was sounding very boo and on.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing how everything connects to the Clintons and Epstein's Island.
I know.
On the
amazing.
internet, isn't it?
It is amazing, but on some level though, you do have to realize. I mean, that these circles are really tight. So the thing is, if you are in that group,
I mean, why would you? I get that. I do get that. But like, it's a bit making it high profile when you get Alec Baldwin to take one of your enemies out with a blank on the set of a movie.
yeah, well, it's definitely a live round, not a blank, and it was a bullet.
Definitely a live round. Dead people proves that. Yeah.
Well, and the other thing is too, when you take a look at the man, I mean, no one knows what's going on inside of a person's head or what happened or whatever. But when you take a look at the man himself, just in general, and his public persona and the stuff that's gone on in his life and stuff that we're aware of, with his marriages and all this stuff, he's a guy that gets upset, man. He does get angry. This guy.
Yeah, you were playing a clip before the show, right? Do you want to play that? Get a taste of what this cat's like.
Yeah, I could dig it up. Now, this was like when this came out. I'm pretty sure when they originally dropped this, it was back in 2007 is when this came out originally. So there's been like 1.5 million people have heard this. Now this is him calling his daughter. This is his very own daughter that he's talking to. And then I got another one here after this if you want to hear some more. But it's Kbsxtra. Here comes out.
We can do it we want, man. I've got some good stuff for us to get into as well. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people talking about this. Big news. And again, the first thing I thought of was Brandon Lee and the whole Crow thing redone.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll just tell you this. The prop master person for this film, I saw a Twitter video that she had made for herself before all this happened. And I mean, it's not good for radio. It's only visual. But her name is, I believe her name is Halls with an S. I'll have to dig that up while we're listening. You ready to listen to Alec Baldwin calling his daughter?
Yeah, go for it, dude.
Right,
go for it. Let's get some. It's like TMZ on here today, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
Hey, I want to tell you something, okay? And I want to leave a message for you right now. Because again, it's 10:30 here in New York on a Wednesday. And once again, I made an ass of myself trying to get you a phone to call you at a specific time. When the time comes for me to make the phone call, I stop whatever I'm doing, and I go and I make that phone call at 11 o'clock in the morning in New York, and if you don't pick up the phone, at 10 o'clock at night, and you don't even have that goddamn phone turned on. I want you to know something, okay? I'm tired of playing this game with you. I'm leaving this message with you to tell you, you have insulted me for the last time. You have insulted me. You don't have the brains or the decency as a human being. I don't give a damn that you're 12 years old or 11 years old, or that you're a child, or that your mother is a thoughtless pain in the ass who doesn't care about what you do as far as I'm concerned. You have humiliated me for the last time with this phone. And when I come out there next week, I'm going to fly out there for the day just to straighten you out on this issue. I'm going to let you know just how disappointed in you I am and how angry I am with you that you've done this to me again. You've made me feel like shit, and you've made me feel like a fool over and over and over again. And this crap you pull on me.
Yeah, we get the taste of it, man. What a piece of work.
Oh, man. He's talking to his own daughter.
Yeah.
Imagine how.
I'm taking like from the context and the content of that there. Are we talking about a child around 11, 12, 13 years of age?
Sounds like it. I don't know how old she was, but I mean, however old she was, I mean, you can see
Good.
he's got a temper on him, and I'm just saying he's out there. He's exec. Listen, let's clarify. He's the executive producer of this movie. That means he's in charge of everything, the money, everything. What he says goes. Can you imagine? I mean, it costs a lot of money per day to have a movie being filmed. Can you imagine how much it would cost to have your whole crew, all the lighting people, all the grips, all the techs, everybody just walk off? And all of a sudden you're standing there and you got to make this film happen today. You got so much scenes you got to get done today. You got to be on schedule. I can only imagine how mad he was. I could only imagine how mad he was. And why was he pointing the gun at that person anyway? Is that person in the movie? Is he in the movie? Is he in the movie playing a guy with the gun in his hand? And if he was, why was he pointing it at that person? The person he was so angry at because they were trying to negotiate or whatever. I don't know, man. He's lucky I'm not the prosecuting attorney. That's all I got to say.
Yeah,
but
he'll probably get off with it, dude. You know that.
I don't know. And the other thing too is he's a gun control advocate. And that's the irony. If he would have just taken a gun safety class, just one class, this would have never happened. This would have never happened. So this is the kind of thing that happens when people that are not trained are handling firearms, and that's why if anyone will tell you that does handle firearms, it's always good to go take a class and know your situation, so things like this don't happen. So little Bobby doesn't find your 9mm over there and shoot the neighbor. I mean,
so what happened? I mean, when we go back then to the Brandon Lee, the Crow one. I mean, can you remember really the ins and outs of what happened there?
Yeah, this was a slug, and it was in a scene where it was a death scene, and he got the gun, I guess, close to his head, and it was a blank, but the slug, I guess, it was a blank gun, but the slug that came out, the cotton blowout on the other end, that was coming out fast enough to kill him.
Yeah, because even when we were in the army, just because you've got the blanks in and the blank firing attachment, doesn't mean you could just go letting off rounds beside somebody's head. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. That's what I mean. A movie set is like, it is really controlled. Stuff's not happening out there willy-nilly. Like I say, when it's time to bring out the firearms, I mean, they're in a case, they're in a trailer. You got to go over there. You got to get the prop master. He's got to sign it out to you. You got to take it over to the. I mean, it's really meticulous. There's no accidents on a movie set as far as like what's supposed to happen, when it's supposed to happen, and the procedure that it does happen in. Because just specifically, like we're saying, because of what happened to Brandon Lee, that was the reason for a lot of the subsequent controls over this type of thing, so it wouldn't happen again.
Somebody needs to make a movie of the confessions of a podcaster in the alternative media. It's a bit of a crap title, I get that, granted.
Mm-hmm.
We can shorten it down somehow.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'd be a good movie, Jimbo, right?
Yeah, it might be.
Daily grind, looking for the woo, trying to separate the fact from the fiction, the signal from the noise.
Mm-hmm.
Dude. I don't think I want Alec Baldwin playing me though.
No, and I mean, I'm sure he's the kind. He just looks like a person who goes red, man. There's people that have a kind of temper. It gets to a certain point, but then they just go red, and in that go red moment, anything can happen. I mean, prisons are full of people who went red, man, for just 2 seconds. Once you pull the trigger, it's over, man. You know what I mean? So I mean, you can't go back. You can't make a bullet come back out of that gun, back out of that person. So. I don't know, man. Like I say, I can't say what goes on in a man's mind. I don't know what happened. I can't say that he did anything on purpose. I can't say that it had anything to do with these union people. I can't, but just obviously I'm a coincidence noticer. And obviously, when all the coincidences start to line up, it looks a little bit suspicious, is all. I'm just saying. Doesn't look, cut and dry. I think it's going to go to court for sure. For sure.
Well, there's definitely going to be a court case on this one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Got to be. You were telling me as well, Baldwin, he's a bit of an interesting character on the last number of years. Very anti-Orange Man, right?
Oh yeah, well, yeah, that's what I was thinking it'd be funny because he was on Saturday Night Live for the last 4 years, ripping on the Orange Man with these really, really harsh, satirical looks at Trump, and I mean, really, the kind of comedy that it would be if Trump was on there doing a skit about him and what happened. I think that would be equally as sarcastic as some of the stuff they were doing before when using Baldwin as a Trump character. Maybe they should have Trump come on and be Baldwin on Saturday Night Live. They might get some ratings. That show sucks now anyway. Nobody watches that show anymore. But anyhow,
I mean, that comedy's it's gone all woke, and woke comedy isn't fun.
it's not funny.
No.
I just watched a video of a woke driver that was delivering some food that wasn't happy with the $8 tip, and she came back up to the guy's door and was giving him a hard time, wanting him to open the door. She was telling him how far it was and all this, and how she deserved more of a tip and all this, and he was like, "What?" And then she just goes, "You know what? I'm just gonna take the food back," and she just she just walked away. And it's like, oh, well, now you were gonna get $8. Now you're gonna get nothing. You're gonna get fired for bringing the food back. People, yeah, that's the guy. The guy who made the video said that's what happens when you give a trophy for second place. Is people think they're entitled to something, extra or whatever. I don't know, man.
That whole mindset of no winners and losers in life, it's not healthy.
No.
It doesn't prepare you for the real world. That doesn't jive with the real world, man.
Not unless your real world is a safe space where everything's safe. And don't worry, we got you covered, Kev.
Everyone will respect your pronouns. We promise to get your genders correct by the day because they're so fluid. You can change them by the day, change them by the hour.
Well, did you see that Vladimir Putin said that the Western society's encouragement of children to choose their gender is a crime against humanity?
Well, this is something else. Now, this is a roundabout way to get to something else I had pulled up. But yes, you're correct. Another country that's come out in the past 2 weeks in their official papers and doctrine is China. And China have said they're disgusted at the way that the Western world, the developed world, the debauchery, the perversion, the way that they're getting into children's minds, confusing them, kind of thing Jimmy's talking about. So that's Russia and China. Very vocal about the whole wokeness going on. And I can't disagree with them. But at the same time, I think it's significant enough to note, and we've been talking and looking at kind of geopolitical things, me, you, and Scotty, Jimmy, from time to time. The same time as they're both getting vocal against the West, well, they're doing this. Russia and China hold their first joint naval patrols in the Pacific Ocean. We've still got the whole Taiwan thing raging, Jimmy. You've got the UK over with India doing military drills right now. You have Doc McCairn on your show. I have him on my show. We've been talking for near 2 years now about how we're already in some 21st century hybrid warfare. It might be bullets and bombs, as we often recognize war to be. It's more of an informational, a psychological, an economical, a cultural thing going on. But now we're starting to see armies moving and things, Jimmy. So what's your take on that, man?
Well, I think what I see right now. We talked a little bit about last night, so it's fresh in my mind. So what I see right now is I see this rise in the price of natural gas for some reason. And it's concerning simply because it's some of the cleanest burning fuel that you can have, and there's like almost an unlimited supply of it. So I really don't understand the rise in the price, except for it reminds me of the rise in the price of oil when it went up to $200 a barrel or whatever it was during the George Bush presidency, Junior, and I saw OPEC make the most money that they'd ever made, and then you see the result of that money in what's been built over there, Dubai, all these big, Neom, all this stuff. This is all money that came from that period of time when oil was $200 a barrel. So I think the BRIC nations are being set up because there's Putin has unlimited natural gas to supply the European Union, and they need to make a pipeline to go through Ukraine to make that happen. And there has to be some things to happen, but I think the price of natural gas being what it is, the energy shortage that's coming, soon to the European Union as a result of, whatever it is. I don't know. There's all kinds of stuff. You probably know better than I what's going on in Europe as far as the fuel and all this other stuff. But I think at some point that Russia then will be able to gain a lot of really good money coming in. And I think you'll see the BRIC nations. It looks like America's being dismantled, to me. It's whole industries are being collapsed. And so, yeah, a war, maybe the war has already been won. And now it's like you say, it's the new war. It's the war where things don't get destroyed, but they just, get dismantled and broken up because somebody bought it up. If you look at most of the countries in the United States of America, most of the biggest name countries are companies that you've heard of all your life. You think they're still American companies, but they're owned by China. The biggest companies, some of them. So it's...
Facebook. You were on the show not long ago talking about the multiverse.
Mm-hmm.
You got Facebook totally getting ready to rebrand and come back fully immersed in the metaverse.
Mm-hmm.
We see how the digital world is even changing as well, Jim,
Yeah, I mean, I just, we're just living in these amazing times. I mean, when you look at all these factors and it keeps coming back to me because, I mean, if all this stuff was going on back in 2012, I mean, everybody would be completely and 100% on board with thinking what was being said was going to happen.
Dude, big time.
You know what I mean? I mean, look at these volcanoes,
I remember people back at 2012 that were saying that's just like the start of something, and it'll be a transitional period. It wasn't me, but I remember people saying like maybe 7 years we'll be right in the midst of it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 11 years. You'll know we're in the changes then. Working with the Strongs, Evan and Stephen down under, they talk about the Hopi prophecies,
mm-hmm.
about the changes going on right now. Again, very similar to what we were all expecting in 2012. Huge changes, Jimmy. Civilization level changes, planetary level changes, interplanetary level changes, perhaps. That's how big, how important a moment in history that this is right now.
Why?
I've often thought people lived through World War II, like they've got that was their thing in history. And I always wondered, would it be like 9/11 for us? Because that's a big significant event for our generations. I think now we're starting to see this change period. 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. I don't know how long this goes on for before we come out the other side. Not to where we were before, folks. To whatever the new normal, the new age, the new cycle is going to be built upon. I don't know how long it takes to get there, Jimmy, but this is our moment in history.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll only be generations down the line. We'll be able to look back and maybe get an accurate picture of what it was like. I say maybe, because the censorship that'll be underway, the episodes from history that will be just Google washed, omitted, so that future generations can't ever read.
My old high school buddy
Lost to history.
uses yield.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Somebody snuck in here. What the hell that was? Sorry about that.
You jumped in.
No, I just something happened there. I wasn't sure what happened. I was just apologizing. I cut you off there.
We will go to a quick break then, folks, because we're almost halfway through,
Oh, nice.
as we always do right here on Aftermath FM. We will set sail, ladies and gents. You ready? We're setting sail for Speculation Island.
Sweet.
Come with me. All aboard. All aboard.
Exciting and new. Come aboard. We're expecting you and love. Life's sweetest reward. Let it flow. It floats back to you. An open smile on a friendly shore. It's love. It's love. Yeah, love.
Yes, there we go, Jimmy. Probably the only podcast in the year of 2021 that insists on playing the Love Boat music when we go for a break. Hey, it is what it is, right?
That's right. As long as I can be Isaac, we're good. See, look, I got the.
I'm still trying to get over this pesky coup.
Oh, I know.
Still trying to get over it, man. I tell you, it fairly kicks you right in the kunos.
I'm sure it does, man.
Not good.
Yeah. Did you see where you saw Shatner going into space? And I mean, obviously,
yeah.
obviously. But there was one particular interview. I wasn't sure if you heard it, where he said he'd brought up the coming global catastrophe. So it was an interview that he gave, and he just blurted it out and just kept on going. Like, he didn't acknowledge it, he didn't say anything, he didn't expound on it. He just said, "Well, the coming global catastrophe." And so I kind of tripped on it a little bit, because I was thinking to myself, well, if I was in this elite circle and I somehow got wind that there was going to be some sort of a global catastrophe on some certain day, or something was about to happen, and one of the things I had on my bucket list was to go up into space, maybe I'd jump on a rocket and get up into space before it was going to be too late. He's 90 years old. He figures, hey, let me get up into space. So, but for some reason, there's been a few people that have mentioned this coming global catastrophe, like it's some known thing that's, somebody else, not us, Kev. We don't, or the regular people. We don't have the date, or we don't know what it is. But it seems like there's a bunch of people that seem to be in the know about some global catastrophe. What are they talking about? I don't know, man. Do you know? This global catastrophe.
But you were saying before the show, all these volcanoes going off and things,
Jeez. Well,
still got La Palma spewing away.
Dude, I think about a month ago, I found this thing, okay, and it was called the global crisis. This already affects everyone, and it was talking, basically, it was a 12 or 13 hour conference. And they were talking about a global catastrophe and that thing, too. And so people seem to be talking about it, so I don't know. What do you think, man?
Well, we've been talking about cycles, the big changes that we're going through right now. Do
Mm-hmm.
I think that the cabal or the Illuminati, the elites, do I think they all know the date and the time? Yeah, maybe some do. I don't know. It depends what it is, right?
You want to hear
Some
it?
kind of asteroid coming in, there'd probably be some people out there if they're tracking it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it could be, dude. Could I know they've all been buying up like bunkers and things. So
Mm-hmm. You want to hear an interesting another one of these conspiracy lore that I saw on a board? It said that this guy said he had a friend who had a coin that he paid $1 million for, and he said that this coin gets you into the bunker, and that on this coin, the date on it was October 24th, 2021.
we're nearly done there. So
I know it's almost a couple days. So hey, let me read you this real quick. Um, I just want to read you guys the key topics of this conference. Okay,
what conference?
this world conference that happened on I think it was July 24th, 2021. This was a 14-hour conference. It was broadcast all over the world, and it was a think tank to attack some of the issues that they saw coming up in the future. Like, for example, we're all familiar with what's been talked about over the last year or so as the Great Reset. This here seems to be talking about a Great Reset, but in a way that's, you know, I don't know. Here, let me read you the key topics of this conference. So it's digital transformation, the introduction of high technology based on artificial intelligence in various fields of life, of world society, the risks and benefits. The next topic is the fourth industrial revolution and the threat of mass unemployment. Future without jobs causes the inevitable collapse of the world economy if the consumerist format is preserved. So that says if we continue to be consumers, the fourth industrial revolution is going to cause a societal collapse because we're not going to be able to buy those goods. It says radical changes in the spheres of society. The problem of overpopulation, rapid depletion of the planet's resources, global climate disruptions, cyclicity of geological events that depend on external factors. And the last two are importance of every person building the creative society. And the very last thing on here, which is the one that blew me away, man. And this is the last topic of discussion: survival of humanity and the revival of civilization. Now, up here in the description, they talk about the upcoming threats and radical changes and the coming global catastrophe. Like, they're talking about it as though they know that there's something that's coming, and they're gonna have to rebuild society from scratch. Is what this is sounding like. So I don't know, man. I mean, it seems seems to be a lot of discussion about this topic in a lot of different places, and so I mean, it's a uncomfortable subject.
Up in the fact that there's a 6,000 and a 12,000 year cycle.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to think that the people that look into this for the Illuminati, the elites, call them what you will,
Mm-hmm.
they've obviously picked up on the cyclical nature of reality as well, right? So they will know that civilizations rise and they fall. And it's just how well you can get through that crash. And by that, I mean how much information, how much knowledge can you retain from one cycle into the next? Because I've heard people talking about how men and women, 1 minute, everything fine, the next minute, because the magnetic shields go down,
Mm-hmm.
basically your brain's like a hard drive and it's wiped. You don't know what's happened, you don't know where you've come from, you don't know where you're going. But it's said, and I don't know because it could be absolute bunk, but there's just remnants here and there that do remember the knowledge, that do retain some of the information that you need to start again, to start the next cycle. And we can see, Jimmy, how these buggers are trying to get underground and as best they can, when you look at it with the underground bunkers, the seed vault, the digitization of stuff, probably that stored underground as well. It looks like they're having a damned good go to retain a lot of the knowledge. Should we enter one of these cyclical moments, and I really do think with the 12,000 year and 6,000 year harmonic cycle that we talk about a lot on KBS, we're in that window, dude. We're in that window, so it would make sense to me to, that there would be signs that these people are preparing for that, buying bunkers down in New Zealand,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So yeah, absolutely, dude.
And
They're getting ready for something.
and what better cover? Hey, the supply chain is messed up. Hey, their supply chain's messed up. But meanwhile, the supply chain's going downstairs in the bunker. So I mean, it's a good cover. I mean, if we're writing we're writing a fiction
those
story.
like the proper pimped out ones. I mean, I know we speculate, but the ones that are like logistically set up and ready to go,
Mm-hmm.
they've got their 5-10 years worth of food. They've got probably maglev transportation between facility 1 and facility 2.
Oh
It's
yeah.
probably like something out of the space age, dude.
So in the chat room, Edward Casey said, "When you see
Shout
Mount,
out to Edward Casey.
when you
Yeah,
see,
is he like a relative of Edgar Casey, the sleeping
he might be, yeah, he might be. No, so yeah, Mr. Casey said, when Mount Etna erupts, the Earth will go through a pole shift."
But Etna erupts all the time. Etna erupts all the time.
I know,
It erupts a
I
number
know.
of times a year.
And every time it does, someone says Edgar Casey said. But that's the thing about these volcanoes, man. You just
I
don't know.
must admit, though, when I was younger, growing up in Europe, it was a more rare event back then.
Hmm.
I'm just going back 40 years to what it is now. Past 5 or 10 years, Etna's picked up. It's definitely increased in its frequency.
That's what I mean when I see the Epic Journeyman lives over in Hawaii. His house is on the Big Island, man. And I see Kilauea over there. I see Japan pop off. I saw Mexico pop off this week. Mount Etna's popping off today. La Palma's about to collapse into the ocean or whatever. I mean, I swear to God, I saw one of the saddest things I've ever seen in my life yesterday. There was literally, I want to say, thousands of whales and dolphins beaching themselves on the Canary Islands, just swimming into the shore and beaching themselves, committing suicide. So I mean, I don't know if it's because there's something in the water, because the lava's going in the water. If there's gas, I don't know what it is. But I mean, man, I honestly, to see all these main volcanoes, cracking off, and then now look, we got this thing about to hit tomorrow in my local area. We're about to get 20 inches of rain, is what they're saying.
Whoa, man.
I know. And if you go, I mean, I wish Scotty was here so he could break off what this rain bomb thing is. So maybe you can get a hold of him next week, and he'll be able to.
Scott should have been here tonight, but he decided he was going to have some beverage
Nice.
with a friend. He hasn't seen his friend for a while.
Yeah.
Managed to nip round. He couldn't get PPP today.
Oh no.
If he'd got PPP, he'd have been hanging with us. Instead, he's gone down the alcohol road, and I completely understand that. It's the weekend.
I hear you.
It's allowed Jimmy, right?
Yeah. Well, he'll be able to do the post-mortem. But Clyde Lewis and Ronnie P. and Wes from Ground Zero, they're all in the deadline of this cyclone supposed to hit the Pacific Northwest. I've heard tales of ball lightning already up there. Zoe's up there in southern Oregon. Zoe, you seen any ball lightning up there? Let me know if you do. Just throw it in there.
Sounds like a torture technique that they use at Gitmo, ball lightning.
Well, hey, they used to do that back in the day. That's how they got information out of people. They'd get the old telephone cranks, and they'd attach those wires to the nether regions and crank the handle, give you a shock right directly on your old cojones.
I tell you what, man, after the heart, I would say that's probably the next best bet to get a man going again if he's struggling. Shocking nether regions.
Yeah, the Netherlands. But yeah, so I mean, it's just a wild, crazy. I mean, listen, and here in Northern California, it's been a bit dry. Every single reservoir around here is empty. There is no water in the state of California. But I'm just saying that this, this rain bomb is what they're calling it. This cyclone-like weather system is something that in my entire life I've never heard of. Now,
It's like thunder snow, right? When I was growing up, thunder
Exactly.
and snow were two separate like weather things.
exactly.
Now it's thunder snow.
Yeah, and that was during the snow bomb. Remember that?
It's like a great AC/DC song, doesn't it?
Yeah. Thunder bomb.
Thunder snow.
Yeah. Star. That sounds.
Snow. Nah.
I don't know. It sounds like a good girl band. Might be a good girl heavy metal band.
I'd say it should be in a girl band.
Oh, you can't say girl. It might be a they band.
Excuse me, it's ma'am.
Indeed, dude, indeed.
It's a wild ride on the Kbsxtra, and I'm just saying. I mean, we're in for a wild ride, wouldn't you say?
You want to find some wild science, Jimmy, while we're
Let's
here?
do that, man, because I just say everything is just like it's just this constant onslaught of extreme. Everything gets more. You think 1 minute you're going, man, whew, things couldn't get any more intense, and then 2 seconds later, boop, this piece of news comes across your desk. You're like, I can't believe it.
I've got nothing intense. I've got nothing in serious. But
Good.
I've got wackadoodle stuff, man.
Excellent.
You know how I like, well, maybe you don't know, but I do like to keep my eye on what I call pointless scientific studies, Jimmy.
Excellent.
Yeah, the things scientists do when they've got too much time on their hands, right?
Uh-huh.
And I think I found another one. I'm going to play a little clip here,
Excellent.
see how it goes. But yeah, let's just see what this guy has to say for himself. Hang on. Okay, hang on.
Did you know that the size of your nose correlates to the size of your penis? A study in basic and clinical andrology found this to be true. Men with larger noses had an average wiener length of 5.3 inches, whereas men with shorter noses had an average length of 4.1 inches. So that therefore means that the Hulk has a really small wee-wee, and Butthead has a huge one. Now I'm going to make a revelation that I've never admitted before, but I currently have a filter on right now, making my face look very, very different. My face actually looks like this.
Did you know, Jimmy? Did you know there's a link between the size of your nose and the angle of the dangle?
No, I didn't know that, but what I do know is if you take your middle finger and put it as far down on the palm of your hand as you can, and then and make that mark and open your finger again, that will be the exact size of your penis.
Wow, where did you find that out, dude?
I think it was in a bar one night. Someone
That's the kind of conversation that takes place in a bar.
It was in a bar one night, and of course, you're gonna have to measure to see if it's accurate. Of course, right?
Imagine you're a scientist though, and you've done your bachelor's or you've got a PhD in something,
Mhm.
and you end up having to seek money through a grant for what? So you could figure out if there's a connection between noses and penises. Wow, eh? Wow, I tell you, man, that must really do it if you're a scientist. You know you've arrived when that's here.
Mhm.
That's where you're batting at, right?
You might, and having a big nose is almost just like a penis in some respects. If you have a really big nose, well, it might be as exciting for some people as a small penis. I don't know, big nose, small penis.
Exciting as this next character we're going to go to.
All right.
Humans do the most stupid things. Another thing that I like to keep an eye on, Jimmy.
Mm-hmm.
The weekend's a good time to go over some of that. But I found one today that definitely needs scrutinizing. You know how we kind of had a laugh and a joke in the past about people being sexually attracted to traffic cones and
Right.
inanimate objects and things like that. But what if I was to tell you? What if I was to tell you that a man has passed, literally not here anymore, after a friend pumps air up his bum, and cops wonder if it's a prank or it's murder. It's utterly bizarre. I don't know what it is, whether it's murder or a prank. But Jimmy, what's happened to people that this is what we're doing when we've got some spare time, dude? What went wrong, man? 2,000 year plus of evolution, and this is where we're at. You know?
Well, the other part of the book that no one ever talks about is the part where it talks about de-evolution.
Oh, big time. Man.
You know
We're
what-
evolving rapidly, dude.
Yeah. So I wouldn't see, as we become less and less needy of certain aspects of being human, that they go away. Like if you don't use your talents, they go away. So like for example, when I was young, you used to have to remember, like, especially if you went out, you were, dating people and stuff, you'd have to remember people's phone numbers. You'd have like 20, 30 phone numbers in your head at any given moment. You go someplace once, you always know how to get back there. Know how to get someplace from point A to point B. But now we've gotten lazy. We don't remember those phone numbers anymore. We keep them on a phone. And
Yeah.
we don't know where we're going. We just look at GPS. And we don't remember where we went because we
And
have.
when we forget, we just get our friend to get the air pump out and
Exactly. I mean,
just inflate me, Jimmy. Come on, man, inflate me. It'll be safe. Don't worry about it. Nobody's ever going to find out. What happens in your life to put you in that situation, man?
well, what's even more important is the look on your face in that critical moment where you just realize you made a fatal mistake. Could you imagine the look on that guy's face?
How does that 911 call go? Well, we need an ambulance, probably the police, and I don't know, man. Kind of blew my friend up. How did you do that? Dude, what the heck? It says here, bizarre passing was reported in, it was in India, Uttar Pradesh, India, where a man has died after he was pumped air up his bum. The victim, a worker at an export facility, succumbed to his injuries while undergoing treatment at the hospital. Not yet known if the friend has been arrested, had played a prank, or the victim, or if it was a planned murder. Wow. Speaking of bizarre deaths, an 80-year-old man named Robert Rayner was found passed at his home in Staten Island with two ominous messages scrolled across his chest and stomach, and cuts were found on his forehead. The message on his chest read, "I touch little girls, oh boy," while the other on his stomach said, "I take dolls in my room for girls aged 1 to 5. NYPD also found words, "I touch," written on Rayner's right leg with a black marker. That sounds like some serial killer on the go, dude.
Yeah, it sounds like
Sounds
somebody
somebody's been out there and doing some vigilante justice by the sounds of it, man.
Yeah, well, didn't they have that? Wasn't there a show on HBO or one of the cable networks where the guy's a serial killer, but with a heart of gold? In other words, he kills people that deserve it. That kind of thing. It's okay when they deserve it.
I don't think I've ever seen that show, but
Yeah, I think it was. That was a one-word name, and was a guy, and he's standing on with a knife, and what the hell?
dude, Dexter, man.
Dexter,
He's like
exactly.
forensic, dude.
Exactly.
It's a good story, man. That's a good story. That
Does he-
you think about how evil people, in this case, we were talking about, there are somebody that disturbingly is looking for young people. They tend to put themselves in jobs around that kind of situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got to wonder how many potential psychopaths and serial killers are working in forensics. Because that's the kind of place where they would probably get off, right?
Right.
Working around that kind of thing they're into.
Right. Well, when
you think of it that way.
Uh-huh. Well, we
Yeah.
used to watch TV shows about cowboys and Indians and mom and pop living in a house, sleeping in separate beds, and society looked a certain way, didn't it? Everything was hunky dory, wasn't it? It was all good. Everything's black and white. Everything's happy. There's two mom and a pop in a house and all this. And look at how it's changed to what we're watching. And then think about young children looking for role models. Dexter's a role model. So the only thing that makes Dexter different from the people that he's working cases on is the idea behind what happens and why he's doing what he's doing. That makes it okay. Just like back in the day when they used to have mancorn. You know what I mean? Back then it was okay.
Be fair though, I mean, it should be on the parents to make sure that if your child is that young and impressionable, maybe it might not be an idea to be watching programs about serial killers. And I don't think I've ever met anyone that's been affected to the point of of wanting to go and do that thanks to Dexter. I know people like to hate on the TV shows and things, but
Mhm.
I don't know, dude. I don't know. But yeah, if young people are watching that,
I'm just
if they're
saying, when
too young,
Halloween,
parents need to be watching what their kids are watching.
Christmas used to be the biggest holiday. You used to give gifts, love each other, blah, da, 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 da. That was the biggest holiday. Now the biggest holiday, Halloween. That's so much money is spent on Halloween. It's even bigger than Christmas, they say. So I don't know. You see a big change in the world, don't you? It's almost like it's a, we've talked about it before. It's the 180 degrees. It's 180 degrees out the way it used to be. So, and if you're not good with that, you're one of the bitter clingers. Are you a bitter clinger, Kev?
No, my life's all right, dude.
Yeah.
Get up in the morning, open the curtains, nice day, family's cool, and working, wee man safe, happy, food in the cupboard,
Sun's,
jam it, dude. One day at a time, man.
Yep.
One day at a time, dude.
sun's gleaming
Yeah.
off the data dome.
Yep, I go and look at the internet. I have to like scratch my eyes after 10 minutes, and it's sucking the soul to live out of me when I'm looking at social media, and I think, that's why I pulled back from this crazy online world. That's not to say that I ignore all the bigger issues going on out there, folks. But you got to have some balance. You can't let this stuff start to get you down. And I found, with me personally, the longer I stare into the abyss, and it is the internet abyss, well, that abyss is starting to have an effect on me. But you can balance it. And I would advise anyone out there, if you're starting to feel a bit down, a bit pissed off, angry, irritated, agitated, alone,
Mm-hmm.
maybe pull back a little bit from the information stream. Because never forget, right now, all of this information is designed to make you react in certain ways. So when you feel yourself reacting to it, good time to maybe pick up a book, go listen to some music, do what you used to do before the internet came along. I know, crazy, long way to think back. Back in the time when we remembered phone numbers and things like that, Jim, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So what you got planned for Into the Microcosm? And coming up after today's show, it's the Patriot podcast.
No, I think it is Paradigm Shift with Joe. I'm pretty sure.
Paradigm Shift, that's the one.
Yeah,
man. I
yeah.
always think Patriot, Paradigm Shift, and then America Unplugged with Billy Ray.
That's right. And I think after Tony's on there, and also I'm not sure if Don is there too, but that's usually the crew on that
That's
show.
a powerful lineup.
Yeah,
dude.
it is.
Powerful lineup.
It is. We got a powerful lineup going on here. I mean, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. If you look at it, ladies and gentlemen. Plus, like Kev, let me just let people know, because it's going to end pretty quick here. There's $79 a year if you want to support the network and you want to support the Kev Baker Show, Kbsxtra. So you go over there and you find the landing page, and it'll be Aftermath FM / Kev Baker Extra, I think. How are they spelling that up on the show? However it's spelled up there, it's Kbsxtra, right? So you guys look for that.
The Kev Baker Show, I think it is, man.
So just put a / and Kev Baker Show, and then when you buy your yearly subscription, part of that goes to Kev Baker, and it helps support the network, helps support Kev Baker, helps support everybody. And like he was saying earlier, the lineup here is impeccable. The research that goes on here and everything that goes on behind the wall of freedom there. There's archives that are never going to be deleted off the internet because of YouTube. There's discovery groups. There's study groups. There's all kinds of movies back there. It's really something. And so for $79, 365 days, it's literally pennies a day, ladies and gentlemen. Step on in and become a supporter and support the Kev Baker Show. And of course, you can see me next week, Monday through Friday, 10:30 Pacific, immediately following Clyde Lewis and Ground Zero. And we got a whole bunch of really great stuff planned for next week, so we're looking forward to seeing you. And don't forget, tomorrow, 8 a.m. Pacific, it's Wake and Bake with myself and the good-looking Italian guy, Rockin' Rio. And we're going to be talking a little bit about the different we're going to talk about the Brill Building on the East Coast. We're going to talk about Motown a little bit. So it should be a good one.
Sounds good, Jimmy.
Yeah,
Sounds
baby.
good. Listen, I want to thank everyone for tuning in today. We'll be back same time, same place next week, right here on Aftermath FM. Be sure to stay tuned for the next show coming up right after the break here, like I say, on Aftermath FM. Remember, check out Jimmy. He is working tirelessly to get more and more content out your way and into the microcosm. It is all going on over there. So, with that said, folks, I'm going to love you. I'm going to leave you. I'm going to leave you with some nice Scottish music like we always do. We are out of here.
Nice.
I don't know if you can see the changes that have come over me in these last few days. I've been afraid that I might drift away. So I've been telling old stories, singing songs that make me think about where I came from. That's the reasons why I seem so far away today. Oh, and let me tell you that I love you, that I think about you all the time. Caledonia, you're calling me, and now I'm going home. But if I should become a stranger, you know that it would make me more than sad. Caledonia's been everything I've ever had. Oh, and I have moved and I've kept on moving. I've proved the points that I needed proving. Lost the friends that I needed losing. Found others on the way. Oh, and I have tried and I've kept on trying. I've stolen dreams, yes, there's no denying. I have traveled hard with conscience flying somewhere with the wind. Oh, and let me tell you that I love you, that I think about you all the time. Caledonia, you're calling me, now I'm going home. But if I should become a stranger, you know that it would make me more than sad.